Hey y'all, it's KJ from Jude Photography. Today we're going to talk about camera basics. In this video, we're going to talk about how to get the correct exposure settings and proper lighting on your DSLR camera. I've had so many of you guys reach out to me for tips on how to get better pictures out of your DSLR camera, so I decided to make a short video to address those questions. Questions like, how come my pictures keep coming out so dark? Or, why are my pictures so blurry? I hope to answer all your questions in this video. So let's just jump right into it. When it comes to exposure, there are going to be 3 key settings that you're going to want to adjust to get the proper lighting. The first one we're going to talk about is ISO. ISO is the International Standard of Organization. It was created in 1974 as a standard scale for light sensitivity in digital cameras. Now it's important to note here that manipulating the ISO value not only changes the exposure, but it also changes how much noise or grain is involved in the photo. As you increase a camera's sensitivity to available light, the camera starts to pick up on things that you may not have seen before. See here how the photos are exactly the same, only one has more grain than the other? That's because of the ISO value. Now if we take a look at our handy dandy visual aid, we will see different recommended ISO values based on different environments and different scenes. The darker the scene, the more ISO you're going to want to use. But just keep in mind, the more ISO you use, the more grain you add to a photo. The second key setting in determining exposure for your photos is aperture, also called the f-stop value. Now, as you can see in our visual aid here, as the aperture increases, the eye of the camera begins to close, allowing less and less light into the camera sensor, while also increasing the focus and clarity of the image. An example of this is when we squint our eyes to try to focus and see something. We may get more focus, but sometimes less light is let in. Okay, so we've talked about light sensitivity in regards to ISO. We've talked about light availability in regards to aperture. The final value that we will be discussing in regards to exposure settings is shutter speed. This value is responsible for how quickly your camera sensor is exposed to available light. The shutter speed value is also responsible for the amount of sharpness or detail within the photo, and this value is broken down into fractional increments. With the help of our visual aid, we can see how increasing the shutter speed of a photo manipulates the sharpness and the blurriness of an image. Together, ISO, aperture, and shutter speed make up the exposure triangle, and it is these 3 values in a delicate balance that determine the amount of exposure in a photo. Pro tip! Some cameras have different auto modes that allow you to prioritize ISO, shutter speed, or aperture depending on what you need. I advise you to play with these modes to better learn your camera. And this marks the end of the Camera Basics video. Thank you for watching. If you would like more resource information, please see the link below where there is a downloadable PDF file with all the technical information I've learned over the years. Also, like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
I don't want you to be friends with me. That's not what I want, baby. Girl, I would rather be your enemy. Yeah, than to not be your everything.